I've got another question here from Israel saying, talking about colors and in charts, I think, how many colors are we talking about when it comes to data visualization?
I go with 5.
Yeah.
Less is more. I think less is more. You need to ask yourself, and the really great way to do this is use a grayscale, right? Print it out and or just use gray for the beginning. Build your entire data visualization in gray. And then ask yourself, are you able to get the insights that you need without color? If yes, then I think you can use one color, maybe aligned with your brand, or just the color that you're trying to see. If you're trying to evoke emotions, like there are different colors you can use for different types of messages, and go ahead and use that color. If you need to use color to differentiate between categories, then make sure that you're not looking at more than 5 categories at a time, and then use 5 very distinct colors that can be viewed by somebody who's colorblind, because I think that it's like 1 in 12 men, and I forget how many women, it's a much smaller percentage of women are actually colorblind. And there are definitely ways you can test for that by uploading your image to, I forget the websites, but if you Google colorblind image, it'll basically let you see it how a colorblind person would see it. And then just making sure those categorical colors are different enough so people can understand the differences. So yes, 5. That's my answer.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Starting in gray, I always advise companies to use really muted colors and pastel colors, because I think when it comes to data visualization, people like red, amber, and greens and the big emphasis colors. And what I always say is that actually those colors have a role to play in nature, and usually they are attracting attention, or they're warning signals saying this is dangerous, this is poisonous, and therefore if we use too many of those colors, we actually start stressing people out and we're distracting from the key messages. So as you said this before, they're actually really figuring out what do I want to highlight, and then use those colors purposefully to highlight what you actually want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what else. So anyone that's on the stream now, if you have any particular questions, some people are asking about the different colors, how many colors you use on traffic lights, for example. Have you got any views on that? What do you view on traffic lights anyway? The nice little red, amber, greens.
I think it can. I mean, you can use it for traffic lights, right? So I think it gets confusing. Actually, the red and green, as you mentioned, they already have some basically notions in our mind. For example, red can mean that you have a loss, and green can mean you're profitable. So I think those should be used carefully. But also going back to the colorblind theories, and one way to look at it is if you put a green and red bar next to each other and upload this to a colorblind translator, you'll actually see that they look almost the same, which to me is crazy because I'm not colorblind and I can very clearly make a distinction between those 2 colors. But I think companies like Tableau have realized this, and they move away from the red-green diverging or color schemes, and they actually recommend blue and orange, especially if you're trying to show, differences in sizes where you had low profit versus high profit margins across time. You can use orange to signify the lower, and the blues or darker blues to signify the higher values. So I think just being careful, and I don't use the traffic light colors probably ever. So